And I started detailing cars for movie stars and famous people. Arnold Schwarzenegger would bring his car in. We would see Jay Leno there. And I would detail these fabulous, amazing, classic cars. I want to share with you something pretty neat that I found here.
Meet Joe Fernandez.
First thing Joe's going to do is he's going to wash the car.
Who started detailing before detailing was cool.
I love machines. I have a polisher collection. I have some polishers that are over 100 years old.
You must have some interesting mobile detailing stories.
I've had canopies take off on me before. So they're up there floating in the air. When they were in the air, just hovering, I knew they were going to come down. So I jump in the Suburban and I put it in reverse and I back out. As I jump out, I realize the Suburban is still in reverse and the hood passes me. So I turn around and I run. And I jump back in the Suburban and I stop it just before it hits a car in the parking lot.
A journey of failures and also success, with lessons about life, love, and business along the way.
A good businessman who's a mediocre detailer is going to be more successful than a detailing god who's a mediocre businessman. The number one thing, if you're going to get into this, is
Joe Fernandez.
yes.
When I say the word detailing, what does that bring up for you?
Detailing. A curse. That's what it brings up. First thing it brings up. If I didn't have a passion for detailing, if I didn't love it so much, I'd be a multimillionaire, because I would just run it as a business and numbers are numbers, and it would be a machine and I would just make tons of money. So that's not what it is. I don't have a business. I'm self-employed is what I say, but I'm having a blast. I'm having too good of a time. You know, I've watched podcasts and read things and watched the YouTube videos of guys who became multimillionaires, and they all have a similar story about how, you know, they had to lick the kitchen floor to pick up crumbs for breakfast because they were so poor, you know, just like they had this awful, awful pain, and that motivated them to be successful and become rich and move on up. I never had that pain. You know, life has been gravy. I have no tragedies really in my life, and I've been enjoying it, and that pain would push you to move up, and I never had that pain. So I got to a level where I enjoyed life and just stayed there. You know, so when you ask me what detailing is, that's exactly what it is. It's just fun. It's just enjoying life.
I've been watching you online for years, and I actually did some research into your YouTube history. You made the first YouTube video back in, 2009 about detailing?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Probably. Maybe that's what you see.
And I saw you on old DVDs with Mike Phillips teaching detailing. So you go back a ways. I just want to talk a little bit about your story.
Uh-huh.
When did it start?
When I started detailing? It started when I was a kid, like everybody, I guess, right? The earliest time I could think of washing a car or caring if a car was clean had to be in a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia, in the late 70s. Yep, had to be it. And we washed a 67 GTO. And I remember and I did it for $5 or something. I washed this GTO, and I used tons of water and tons of soap, I remember. And when it was all done, it was dry, the job was awful. There were spots that we missed. That's the earliest I remember. My dad always had auto body shops and mechanic shops, and sometimes a combination of the two. And I would go with him every time I was out of school. So either after school or on summer vacation. And I would work on cars mechanically, you know, painting them and fixing them or just cleaning them up. So that's where I got my love for vehicles. But I didn't really start detailing until I joined, just before the Marines, right? Because I would color sand and polish show cars. But detailing, more than just polishing and sanding, detailing wasn't until I was in the Marines and didn't have a car. And I would borrow a friend's car who was also a Marine and detail his car as a thank you. I'd bring it back full gas and a detail. And then started doing that for money. Yeah, that's where it first started. And then when I got out, I got discharged in Los Angeles, and I'm from Florida. And I wanted to hang out here and check out California a little bit, and I had to do something to make money. And I got a job at a place called Hill and Vaughn. And the Hill and Hill and Vaughn is Phil Hill, the famous American race car driver, who was the first American, I think, to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans in the 60s or 50s, something like that. I didn't know who he was. As you can tell, I still don't know who he is, kind of. And I started detailing cars for movie stars and famous people. Like the Heinz tomato ketchup family has a bunch of collector cars. Arnold Schwarzenegger would bring his car in. Tom Selleck would bring his car in. We would see Jay Leno there from time to time. and I would detail these fabulous, amazing classic cars. So I went from detailing beaters in the Marines for other Marines to jumping to these amazing, amazing classic cars that are still around. You can see them in these awesome museums, or when there's a big time auction, something will go through the auction block for millions of dollars, and there'll be something I detailed years ago.
So this was a detail shop, or this was a place people bought and sold?
It was an auto restoration shop. Yeah, they'd pull a Bugatti out of a lake in France or something and bring it to the shop and take it down to the chassis and restore every single nut and bolt.
So you've been doing this for a long time.
Up until something that would win, like at Pebble Beach. We won the vehicle Best of Show at Pebble Beach in 1990.
So that's how long you've been doing this at a high level.
Yes, since then.
Because in my head, I have the person in mind who's maybe watching this podcast who has no idea who you are. It has nothing to do with you not being an important... Like, it's just people come and go in detailing, right? So assuming they don't know who you are, I was going to ask, if they don't know who they're listening to, why should they care? But obviously, you've done a couple cars in your life.
Yes, yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, I got plunged into doing, like I said, beater cars up into that level. I loved it. It was awesome. I mean, we did twice. I've done Hitler's limousine. Like, he had more than one vehicle. Yes, and we did a Mercedes 770. Now, hang on a second. We didn't restore it. We were doing another Mercedes 770, and this is huge monster Mercedes, and it's a car, the size of a truck, but officially it's a car. So we were given at the shop, Hitler's 770 as something to go by as we restored the other 770. So my job was to keep it clean, Hitler's car, So it was me and another auto detailer, and I'd get inside and we'd vacuum it and wipe it down, just keep it clean, because it wasn't our car, and we just keep it nice while we had it. And I remember we would dare each other to sit in the seat, and nobody would do it. In Hitler's seat, that's right.
Wait, so it was there as an example of how to restore the other one, and you just had to make sure it didn't get dirty while it was there for you to look at?
Yes, it was there, so we knew how to put back the other 770. And the other 770 we were restoring was a gift from Hitler to, like, the king of Iran or Iraq or some kind of situation like that, Saudi Arabia, something like that.
So this was that restoration shop you worked at?
Yes, at Hill and Vaughn. It was in Marina del Rey in the 1990.
Is it still around?
No, it got sold, and whoever bought what it was left moved it to the Midwest somewhere, Iowa or something like that. And I remember sending them an email. Is this the same Hill and Vaughn? And it was,
Okay, so
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you've worked on so what other cool vehicles have you worked on? Because you've worked on like Air Force One and what other B planes? B.
So see what I mean? So I don't know if you recorded this part, but the part I said about if I were just a businessman, I wouldn't have a long list of cool stuff that I detailed, but I'd be rich on the other hand, right? So I do all right, but I'm not rich. And the difference there is a passion for this or not. Either you're a businessman or you're just passionate about detailing. And if you can combine the two, great. But I was unsuccessful at doing that. But I think I'd rather have fun and not be rich than be rich and not have fun, So I like to think, what haven't I detailed, or what would be fun to detail? And when I say fun to detail, it's not so much the item itself. It's getting a crew together, getting sponsorship together, and going out and making this like an incredible event, And that's just so much fun. I can't put it into words. One of those jobs, which I did get paid for, was a job that Ivan helped me with. And this was in 2009. And it was 2 World War II aircraft, one being a B-25 first, and the second one being a B-17, located in Orange County, California, at the Lion Air Museum. So he was a big help, but he didn't have tons and tons of aluminum experience. And these are bare aluminum aircraft. And I look at pictures now and I see things we were doing wrong. Number one was using way too much product. There was just product all over the place, all over the airplane, all over us, all over the equipment, but we got through it. And he was a valuable person to have on there because, when I come up to a problem, he would solve it. It was good to have there. And we put our heads together and did a great job on it. And that was one of the first big, amazing things that we did.
Yeah, Ivan's always got an answer for something, and
Always got an
he
answer.
likes being in the mix, right? So,
Right.
by day I'm Nick at DIY Detail. By night I'm Nick at night. I'm
That's right,
liking
very
I'm
good.
liking this, like doing something different than just the Nick and Ivan show,
Right.
because I do lean on him, because he always
Right.
has an answer for something, and I'm
Always
like,
has an answer for
Ivan,
something.
what do you think? And he has like this walking soundbite, but
Right.
truly he's a one of a kind personality and talent when it comes to like this entire industry. So it's funny that and he only speaks glowingly about you. So when I told him I was going to have you on the podcast,
Oh, awesome.
super excited.
The admiration for him is mutual. He's low maintenance, that's for one, but he's strongly opinion. Like I think he stayed at my house. Oh no, he stayed at a hotel nearby when we had the project here. But he would often come over. Him and his lovely wife would come over and eat dinner at my house. So he would eat salad with no salad dressing and just drink warm water out of the faucet. So I'm thinking
What?
this is going to be great.
His eating habits are so odd. I'll say
They are
this,
so
he's probably
odd.
watching this podcast. He's carnivore until he gets like a pizza in front of him, and then it's like
That's right,
it's
that's
pizza time.
right.
Like, I thought you were carnivore. It's like, oh, just today, So, but he's lost a lot of weight. Speaking of that, you guys have both lost a lot of weight on the carnivore diet, it seems.
Yes, I'm down about 60 pounds.
Yeah.
I love to ride dirt bikes, and especially with my daughter, my most favorite human in the world. And we took a picture out in the desert next to our dirt bikes. And there she is, geared up, and she makes sure that her gear is all matching and matches her motorcycle. And she puts too much effort and thought into that. And I'm next to her in a red jersey, and looks like I'm this angry, wild tomato following her around. And I'm looking at this picture of this fat guy, and I go, why am I fat? There's no reason why I'm fat. So I'm going to stop that. So starting on that day, and it was the very end of February of 2024, all I did was change my eating habits. That's all I did. And I dropped 60 pounds. Hardly any.
As if it were that easy, though. Come on.
It was that easy. Just stop doing it. So I love to drink beer, right? Don't have a problem with it. I could turn it off like a light switch. I go, beer's not helping the cause. So I just turned it off. Pizza, all this garbage is not helping the cause. I just turned it off. And I just went carnivore. So I'm like 95% meat and eggs and just a handful of vegetables every now and then. And that's it. That's all I've done. And the weight just goes away.
Do you feel better?
I feel amazing. You know what nobody ever talks about are my strides. I have these huge strides now. I don't know why, but I have these huge strides. Like it would take me 20 steps to go across the room. I can do it in 3 now. I can just go. I have these strides. I flew to Chicago for a business thing, and I felt great in the seat. My clothes all feel loose. I got to buy new motorcycle gear because it's loose and it's expensive. So I'm waiting until I lose more weight before I buy more gear.
Yeah.
When I wake up, just hop out of bed. It's a big difference. And I still have 40 pounds to go. So how big was I that you can lose 60 and you're still fat?
Maybe you're a big boy, but I mean,
boy.
maybe you got so efficient at detailing that it wasn't as much work as it is for someone starting out. And I kind of want to ask you about that because
Okay.
I went through like the microcosm of the journey of like mobile detailer, then shop based, then I brought on a business partner, and then we had a technician, and then the business partnership imploded, right? And then after I went to the bigger shop, and then I just basically gave him the business, and I moved more toward content creation, right? But I was on that journey of like, I'm going to start this business, and then I'm going to build this empire. I'm going to have employees. And I remember seeing Darren from Auto Fetish say once, as one of the older, YouTubers as well out there I used to follow, saying that he tried it all and he went back to being a single operation. And I just wonder for you, like, what have you tried in terms of being a detailer? Like, what has worked, what hasn't? Just for people out there with all the passion in the world and they haven't had time to make all the mistakes, maybe you could share some of that part of your journey.
So I haven't tried much. I've only tried what I wanted to do until recently. And what that means is I love cars. I love classic American cars are my favorite, but the money seems like came from the exotic stuff, the European cars and all. Those clients seem to have more disposable income to spend on me. Let's see here. What I have tried that I didn't like was like fleet type stuff. I've gotten contracts from the U.S. government to do U.S. forestry vehicles, and that's just a hassle. The payment is a hassle. Lining up the vehicles is a hassle. It's low pay, and you destroy all your equipment, all your chamois and mitts, and all get just destroyed by doing fleet type stuff. And it wasn't compatible with the high end stuff I was doing. That's pretty about much it. But except for recently, so I'm 56, and I want to scale the business. I have a desire to scale the business. A couple of reasons. Number one, the body is getting old. So I still work hard and I work strong, but the writing's on the wall, right? Eventually I'm just going to get slower and older. It does take me a little longer to do the same amount of work that I used to. So I still perform or turn out high quality work, but I can't just bang it out like I used to. It takes a little bit longer. The knees hurt a little more, the back hurts a little more, and all that's normal, right? Because you get older. And if I scale it, my influence can be spread out amongst more people, more customers. If one guy can facilitate getting 600 bikes for Christmas, what if I had a company with 20 employees and 10,000 customers, right?
And that's your fundraiser, the bike. And I do want to talk about it because I think that's what really I see you light up, and we are in the month of your
Christmas. Yes.
Of Christmas.
Yes. So with a bigger company with more employees and more customers, we could do more things like that is my goal for scaling. And I'm kind of struggling with that.
Have you had employees before?
I've had up to 4 employees back in 2006, 2007, around there, 2008, up to 4 employees.
And how was that?
Well, when it all comes together, it's great. And I've had great employees. But weird things happen. Employees you think you got a buddy and a friend and somebody who's good. And if a circumstance comes up where they will benefit, you'll get stabbed in the back probably, or, that might be harsh, but they're out for themselves, number one, So that was a learning lesson. It's way less hassle to just detail for yourself and more enjoyable. But the income and what you can achieve isn't there. You can't do it by yourself.
Because I get nostalgic even in my short career, thinking of how long yours has been. Again, I went back through your YouTube history, and there were like DVDs of you polishing, with a rotary with Mike Phillips, and I'm like, what have you done and like forgotten that I'll never even learn. And I just wonder, like, I don't know. I felt like my body was breaking down after a few years. Like you're still doing it. So I wonder, like, what's the most sustainable work in detailing versus what do you shy away from?
So what I shy away from, like here's the fight between businessman and passionate detailer. So if it's not fun, enjoyable, that's my first criteria for turning it down. I, for example, had a guy that had a classic Maserati collection, right? So he sends me pictures and look at these Maseratis and you're the man and whatever. Okay, I hit him with some prices. Okay, I'm cool with the prices. I go, this is beautiful. This is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
So I get there and he has like a 6-car garage, 6 single door on his building. And in front of the doors, just outside the door, is gravel. So he gets there. There's no room to detail in the garage. It's just packed full of cars and stuff. And he moves it out into the gravel, closes the garage door and says, all right, son, I have to detail on this gravel. So I detailed one Maserati in the gravel and he was happy. He put it away. And then when can you do the next one? He says, nope. I'm done. What do you mean you're done? What happened? I go, I'm not going to detail on gravel. So people can't believe I turned that job down because I had to detail on gravel. Think about that. I'm crunching around the car. You got to kneel on the gravel. If the sun comes out, I put up a canopy. Try to put up a canopy in gravel by yourself. It was a mess. So I turned him down. And he didn't have a spot to do it, a nice paved spot to do it. So that's my first criteria. You would think it would be money or the size of the job or whatever. Nope, my first criteria, if it's enjoyable and pleasurable and hassle-free. I'm almost like a diva, kind of. I'm not. I'm humble. But people tease me, you're the detailing diva. All the situation has to be just right. The car has to be just right. And the second criteria is the customer. They have to be enthusiastic about it. They have to be kind of a car guy. They have to they can afford it, that type of thing. So if that doesn't work out, if it's not an enjoyable job, and I have an enthusiastic customer that can afford it, then I won't go for it. I won't pursue it.
The slippers got to fit like Cinderella.
Cinderella, exactly right.
If you're in the game long enough, I imagine you have a lot of people knocking on your door, right? Just from word of mouth, or is it still kind of a battle in California because you've got so many detailers around?
So both. So if I stay with the high end stuff like I've been doing, I have a client base for that, and they call me every time they get a new whatever, and they refer me to their friends. And those are usually big jobs. Like a big job to me is a $2,500 job. I don't do PPF or nothing. Paint correction and ceramic coating, and I'll get I would say 25, 15, 35, let's say. But let's say 2,000 to 25 is kind of average. And that job will beat me up, starting to beat me up. Like if I do a 2-day job like that, I'll need another 2 days to rest almost, you know?
Are you, what are you doing to these? Enhancement, 2-steps? I mean, what do these guys want?
Like you'll get a brand new Ferrari, for example, and I think they get completely color sanded and buffed, and they leave it about halfway completed. They'll leave sanding marks on it, buffer marks on it. So I fix all that and then put a ceramic coating on it. And that's so see what I mean? So sometimes you get an easy one and you can make $1,500, $2,000 in 6 hours, right? Because you got one that's a lighter color, didn't have that many defects in it, and you do it. Then the next day you get a call with somebody with a 5-year-old Toyota Camry, and they take their dog to the vet, and they have 2 kids, and they want to pay $250 for a full detail. So see where that clashes.
Do you take those jobs?
Very seldom, very seldom. Yeah,
Do you do interiors at all?
Well, I got friends from church, you know, and they want to use me because we're buddies and all. So I take jobs like that. Or when I do a Ferrari owner, almost all my exotic car owners have businesses or entrepreneurs. And as a gift or as a favor to their receptionist or somebody who works on their team, they'll throw me one of those, you know, and they'll pay for it. And that's usually when I get something that's just beat. And you don't have to do that good because the owner of the car is not paying for it.
Yep.
You know, and the person is giving a gift. So just give it, you know, whatever you charge, just make sure they get their money's worth and just leave it. But sometimes it's just nasty. I mean, I've turned them down before. I go, man, you know, I know you're trying to treat them to a job, but it's just, I mean, come look at it. You know, it's just nasty. So there's another thing I like. I like people who love their cars. I love people who love their cars. And if they love their cars, they're going to love me because we're on the same page. You know, if it's just, when I get a call from somebody who doesn't typically keep their car clean and they just call me because of an emergency, you know, a dog threw up in the back seat or something spilled or whatever, I don't like those customers either. I turn those down as well.
So when it comes to mobile detailing, what advice would you have for someone who's just starting out? Like advice?
So I don't think there's anything specific to being mobile or a shop or even for detailing. I mean, there could be some things, but the number one thing, if you're going to get into this, is be a businessman. Be a businessman. I don't care if you're selling socks or mobile detailing or pencils or whatever. Be a businessman. And I wish I would have been more of a businessman earlier on. A good businessman who's a mediocre detailer is going to be more successful than a detailing god who's a mediocre businessman. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? Yeah.
Yep.
So to do this all over again, I would do that. Now, if I had a machine running with employees and managers running, then I could still detail all the cool stuff I do on the side while the machine is running and making me money. You know, as it is now, if we go do something cool in Air Force One or whatever, then everything just stops and we go have my fun and then I come back and get it started again.
I mean, having fun, I think, is something that is so underrated in life.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
You've done Air Force One, Hitler's
car.
What
so
else?
we did a number of Air Force One. Then 5. Now, Air Force One is a call sign of a aircraft when the president is on it, right? So when he steps off it, it's not Air Force One anymore. So when we say Air Force One, these are aircraft that have been used or have used the call sign Air Force One at some point in time. So there's some that have been used regularly as Air Force Ones and some that didn't get used that many times. So the ones that were used regularly, we've done 5. I put teams together and we've done 5 aircraft that have been used as Air Force Ones, and they vary in size. I've done 2 Marine ones, right? And I did one, and there's only one in the world, U.S. Rail Car 1. And that's a train car. That's an armor-plated train car made in the 30s for President Roosevelt, before aircraft was a thing where they trusted and whatever. So we have U.S. Rail Car 1 all the way up to Air Force One. Isn't that cool?
And you've detailed them all?
Yes. I put a team together. So it isn't just me. It was a team effort. You know, but I would, you know, I'd arrange it and get sponsorship and see who's interested, and we'd go and we just have a blast. We get the thing to look gorgeous and just have a blast. You know, and one of my favorite parts is figuring it out. I mean, try to do the roof of a Boeing 707. How do you get up there? How do you polish it? What do you use? You know, and then logistics, electricity, you can't just plug into the hangar because when 20 guys are using a buffer, it'll blow the circuit breaker or whatever. So you got to figure out the logistics, who's going to be where, how to get them up there, how to get, don't damage the airplane, don't kill anybody. And just, that's just great. It's just so much fun.
It's fun.
You know? And when it all comes together, you can stand back and look at this monster thing that we detailed. You know, I've come back from doing Air Force One, and a guy had a Cessna 340, which is a six person, 2-engine airplane. And he calls me and he said, I got an airplane for you. And then we show up at the airport and he goes, it's a big one. Like, it's a little 2-engine, 6-person. I go, oh yeah, it's a big one. All right. Then I had to take my phone out and show him, look at this. Yeah. Oh, never mind. You know? Yeah.
So you mentioned you have a daughter, and I have a daughter and son, and I haven't pushed them on detailing at all. I think they're just going to see it and decide. But do you think it's a profession that you would want your kid to go into? Like,
no,
it's been so good to you. It's been good to you, right? But like, how do you feel about it? I feel like it's a weird thing if you say.
So it depends what do you want to achieve. So I did it just to enjoy life, just to get by and enjoy life, right? And I wouldn't want her to think like that. I'd want her to push first, get something set up that'll treat you well as far as income, and then pursue whatever you have a passion for. So I've taken her with me to help me when she's off work, you know, has a day off, and she'll make some extra money on the side or whatever. But I don't push her into it. I would like for her to stay away from it because there's this battle. So I would call myself, I guess, a high-end detailer. I work on some fancy stuff. But most of the time, detailing is seen as a really low-quality, low-skill job by most people, you know. So I would have her stay out of that and stay with something that's kind of boring, not sexy to brag about, but just pays you well and is consistent. That's what I would push her into.
Isn't that interesting? Because, you know, I don't know how I would have survived just detailing because, I mean, I would do a $250 detail and it would take me all day. Like, I couldn't see the long term of that. And then I brought the business partner on thinking that we could figure something else out. I love it, Joe. Like, as I said, I do love cleaning cars, and I have a passion for the industry. It's been so good to me. That's why I'm like so fascinated by you as someone who's actually done the detailing thing and stayed.
But that passion's a curse, like I said earlier. It could be a curse. It just has a hold of you. Hey, I rent cars sometimes. I go to Florida. So my family's still in Florida. So I go to Florida often. Or I'll rent a car. We'll do a road trip. We want to put miles on our regular car, so I'll rent a car. And then my wife will like bring luggage out or something. And I'm detailing the rental car. She goes, what are you doing? I said, we're going to be in this thing for the next week. I've got to make sure it's clean. And I'll detail it, you know. And they're always covered in swirls, and I'll test out products, and it's just as a sickness. It's a mess.
What are you excited about, product wise? You know, tool wise. I went through your older YouTube videos. You're out there with Meguiar's dual action polishers, and you're talking about, you know, the Porter cable, comparing the two.
Oh, that was great.
I think it's cool that you were actually on YouTube early doing product reviews and demos. Like, if folks don't know Superior Shine, go subscribe to Joe on YouTube because there's some OG classics on there. But
I appreciate it. I wish I would have pursued that better. You know, I never got the hang of it, of making cool videos. Now, there's a ton of cool videos now. People that smoke anything I ever did. I mean, way cool videos. And I don't have passion for it, I guess. I guess if I had that machine running on the side that I spoke about earlier, then I would get into other things, you know, try to be funny. I was blessed with a sense of humor, and I love to make people laugh. So if I wasn't a detailer, I would be a comedian or something, I think, you know. And it just takes small tweaks. It doesn't take much. Like, do you see the name on my
Yeah, I haven't even
see what I mean?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Stupid things like that. That's all it takes. You know, I do it all the time, and I love it. You know, and I love it. So
Have you seen the new Gladiator movie?
No, I don't watch movies.
I haven't seen
movies in a long time. I saw Saving Private Ryan in the theater. People bring up references.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, people bring up references to movies. I have no idea what they're talking about. You know, I can't sit still long enough to watch a movie. It's got to be really good. And the only reason I saw Saving Private Ryan because I love history. I love American history, so that'll capture me. But anything else, you know, I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV. I watch YouTube videos. That's really about it. You know.
So tell me something you're excited about product wise, or when did you get over the whole marketing product cycle? Like, because you know what you know, and I'm sure you just sit back and like watch all. I mean, I have a product line. I'm sure you watch it all, and it's just like, I see what's happening here. Like, Interesting. You know, but
So this is going to be weird. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I don't watch anything or read anything about detailing. You know, because I detail all day long. You know, I even stopped going to SEMA. It was just all this noise and everything. Well, I'm kind of ruined for SEMA. I've detailed at SEMA, so I've been in the convention center, 4:00 in the morning, the day before, like Sunday, like Tuesday morning, just before it opens, and it's peaceful and it's quiet and it's all lit up and all the cars are out and there's bowls of candy and there's posters and stickers and keychains you can just get and there's nobody else in there, and I can walk around and look at the cars, versus going as an attendee and it's just elbow to elbow and I can't see nothing. So that ruined me for SEMA, you know? And then all the information and just, so I even stopped going. I stopped getting excited about products and machines. You know, I don't know why. I think when good stuff comes out, it just you learn about it and you grab it and you start using it. So
what are your go-to products then? I want to know from like someone who's not, you know, not easily impressed or amused. Like what are your go-to lineup? What is your cutting compound? What's your polisher? What is your cleaner? Yeah, like your soap.
Okay. So
rinseless.
It all has to go. I hate to say this. Now everything I use is good. Now this is funny mindset. People have come to me who sell products and machines or whatever, anything related to detailing, and they say this is the best. Like, see this towel? This is the best towel. You know, or see this bottle, whatever. This is the best bottle, the best. You go, I don't need the best. You go, what do you mean you don't need the best? I just need good enough. You know, nobody's ever put a wax on a car and the customer come out and say, you know, that's not shinier. I mean, it's not shiny enough, or is that the best? You know, so there's two problems with that. Number one is, how do we define the best? You know, if you got a crap product, but I can buy it for $1, that might be the best for me because it's cheap, you know, or is it easier to use than something else? That might be the best. So first of all, there's no standard definition for best. Second of all, I just need good enough. I just need good enough to please my clients. And most people's standards are way lower than detailer standards. Yes. And I've been detailing cars to a higher level than 99.9% of my customers even appreciate. Absolutely, positively, for sure. You know? So that's why products don't excite me so much. It'll excite me if I can get good results for cheaper, I guess, save a few bucks. But even I hear detailers complain about a gallon of compound is what's a gallon of compound? $35 maybe? Or not a gallon, a quart of compound would be about $35. Yeah. Oh, I found it for $32. I go, when this quart of compound is used up, I would have made thousands of dollars. You know, think about how much you use. I would have made thousands of dollars, and you're not going to use it, or you're going to switch because you're going to save $3. You know, so even the price of detailing products is really no big deal, even if you get it for free. You know, machines.
You're right.
I love machines. I have a polisher collection. I have some polishers that are over 100 years old. Metal, made in America, heavy polishers. So I love machines. You know, the manly machine tool guy, you know, mentality is what I have. But what is getting me excited now, and we go through seasons, right? Different things excite you. I'm looking for a new coating. I'm looking for a new one step. I'm looking for a new machine. You go through seasons. My season now is efficiency. Is get in and get out, get the car looking as best as you can for the price you're charging as quickly as you can.
Any tips there? Because I've actually come, you know, Ivan has preached efficiency, and I've been kind of just the passionate, take a long time, but do in my eyes a good job kind of way. Right. And I'm starting to understand the beauty in the simplicity. Like, I've seen you on those little creeper rollers, been in your videos for decades now or whatever. Yeah, and Ivan has his little creepers, and I'm like, yes. And polishing without pressure, and like using the damp pad, and not having to swap out pads, and like just everything being efficient and meticulous. Like, it actually is starting to make sense as my body starts to feel less like it did when I was 20. So I'm seeing the wisdom in Ivan's ways more, and efficiency. I'm just curious if you have any tips for folks out there that could help them as well.
So I agree with that efficiency. The creeper thing I have, Ivan bought. I gave him. We did that job, the B17 job, and I had him make the order. You know, I had the credit card or whatever. I go, here, make the order, and I'll just pay for it. So everything comes, and there's this creepy thing with wheels, and I hated it. I hated it.
It looks so stupid.
It does look stupid. You feel stupid. It's awkward to sit on, you know. But the one I use now is still the one that he ordered all these days later. And I've rebuilt it. I put new wheels on it and a new bicycle seat on it.
New bicycle seat. Yeah. It's the
Right.
Rack Attack. Is it the Rack Attack?
It's the Rack Attack.
That's the one I got when I started detailing, and it's probably still in my old shop.
Yes.
It stayed when I left Hawk Pro Detailing. Like, I put a new bicycle seat on it, but that thing, and the middle tray that holds your compound or whatever, that disappeared.
Oh, that
The
disappeared.
thing is creaky and nasty looking, full of splattered compound and tape that I would have pulled out and just stuck somewhere. But the thing works.
It works. It works. And then you ever have a friend try to sit on it and see people almost kill themselves? It happens often because you can't sit on it. You got to sit on it the way it was designed. If you sit on it without putting your knees where they go, you'll die. I had a guy do that. Hey, I'm in the Ferrari dealership where they store their cars, and I don't even have much room anyway to work. And this guy walks over, and he works at the dealership. He sat down, and he fell back. The Rack Attack shot out from under his butt, bounced off 2 Ferraris, boom, 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 and lands. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And it didn't do any damage. I don't know how. And he's on his back. He's like a cockroach on his back with his legs, I'm like, my gosh. So I have to warn people, stay away. That'll kill you. It doesn't look like it, but it'll kill you if you don't use it correctly. And I hated it. I was going to beat Ivan with that thing when it was in the pile of stuff. Like, what am I going to do with this? It had nothing to do with the B-17, but he knew I needed that in my life. And I was like, this is dumb, But now, I'm just upset I can't use it while I do interior detailing. I put it in the center console and rest on that thing if I could,
It's cleaning floor mats with that thing, lower panels. He's got this new one called the LaCroix Cruiser that we've had in our videos recently, and people have been asking about it. And at first I was dead set. I'm like, I don't want to sit in this stupid thing.
Right.
Like, we have these like Viper chairs, that are pretty cool. The Viper chairs look cool. The LaCroix Cruisers, the Creepers don't look cool, but you get in them, and I'm like, I don't want to put the bottom of my shoes on the ground, because that's where you have to get like your toes just fully on the ground, because I'm like, I don't want to get my shoes dirty. He's like, people are going to care more about how they feel than their shoes. And I'm like, I don't know about that, Ivan. But when I finally stopped caring about any of it and just started to care about comfort, you anchor kind of with your toes flush against the ground, and it just works. It works really well.
It gets you lower to the ground and closer to the job. If you're sitting, your legs are in front of you and you're higher up and away from the job, and you still got to bend down. So if you're comfortable and you're near the vehicle, especially when it's low, you'll do a better job. Yeah. If you're in an awkward position and your back isn't comfortable, you'll just wipe it real quick or do whatever you got to do. But if you can sit there and be in front of a wheel, use a Rack Attack for wheels all the time, or paint correction on the bottom of the doors, the bumpers. If you're comfortable and you're up against it, you'll do a better job.
All right, let's talk about mobile detailing horror stories. Most embarrassing, horrible, have to use the bathroom. I don't know. You must have some interesting mobile detailing stories.
No really amazing stories. Some close calls.
Doesn't have to be funny. I mean, just like any... I don't know. I just feel like when you're in someone else's space as a mobile detailer, there's always something that's out of your control. So there's interesting variables at play.
I've always thought out stuff way ahead of time. I've had some interesting experiences with my canopies. I've had canopies take off on me before. That's not fun. I remember detailing a Suburban, and I'm in the shade and I'm detailing, I'm polishing, and it got all light. For example, like it just got brighter. So I look up, and I have 2 10x15 canopies put like this, right? I bring the vehicle in this way. So 2 by 10 by 15. Those were gone. They look like postage stamps. That's how high they were. Yes. So they're up there floating in the air. And when I got started with that job, I'm in an industrial complex. The guy renting the warehouse next to me was upset that I was detailing so close to his Toyota Camry. And don't worry about it. I won't get it wet. I'm over here. I'm under my canopies. And he was upset. Well, anyway, the canopies, one landed back on its legs. The other one landed on top of it with the legs pointed in the air. And it fell on the canopy, on the Camry. Yes. So I snatched it off of there and I checked it out real good, and it only made one little mark on the door, like a scuff, right? And so I was shaking. So let me back up. When they were in the air, just hovering, I knew they're going to come down. So I jump in the Suburban and I put it in reverse and I back out. As I'm backing out, I see the canopies come down. The one on its back with the legs in the air was going to fall on the Camry. So I jump out of the Suburban to run over there and catch it. As I jump out, I realize the Suburban is still in reverse and the hood passes me. So I turn around and I run. I jump back in the Suburban and I stop it just before it hits a car in the parking lot. And by then, the second canopy that was on its back landed on the Camry. So I park the Suburban. I take that off of there. You know, if it's damaged, I have insurance. I'll fix it. But this guy's going to be pissed. I mean, he was already mad that I was just there. So there was just a scuff on the door that I can fix. It was like from the canvas or something. No dents. So I collapse the canopies. I put them back in the van. I put the Suburban back where it goes. And I'm doing this. I'm buffing the Suburban, and I turn around and hit that door a little bit. Then I buff the Suburban and hit that door a little bit. And then I put wax, you know, and whatever, and I fixed it, you know. That's probably the worst one I could think of. Or there's one, I'm on a steep driveway, and I don't detail on steep driveways anymore. And I have the canopy up. I have headphones on, listen to music. I'm on my knees on the driver's seat, cleaning the center console, right? Doors are open. I'm vacuuming, headphones on. And the emergency brake is on, and I got to get in around that boot. So I take off the emergency brake, and over the music, I hear this noise, like a scraping noise. I'm like, what the heck is that? Right? So I look up. Well, it was a stick shift car, and when I took off emergency brake, now we're rolling down the driveway. The doors are open. The doors have caught the legs of the canopy, and I'm dragging the canopy down the driveway. And I had a good 15 feet. And my van is parked at the foot of the driveway. So I'm like, what is that? And I look and I see things are going by, and I hit that emergency brake thing, and it skids to a stop about 2 or 3 feet from my van. Isn't that great? Now, when those things happen, it messes me up. So I got to just stop, you know, and just chill, go get a drink of water, you know. But that's really about it. Haven't really, no major damage, no, you know, little problems like you get low on water or you don't have electricity. I have used other people's electricity or other people's water. Like it won't be uncommon to say, well, my keys are under the floor mat, my car's in the driveway, and detail it, and I'll pay you. And you get there, and then you blow a circuit breaker on their house. And what are you going to do? You have no access to the house, and I don't want to cancel. So I'll plug into the neighbor's house. There'll be an outside socket, or I've used water next door, and I just playing that stupid. Like, oh, they said it was okay or whatever, and I never got caught, you know?
I mean, sometimes you gotta. That's what I like about. I am not a handy person, right? Ivan, for example, we talked about him. Not to make it about him, but he's very handy. And
yes.
But you learn very quickly as a mobile detailer. If something goes wrong and you can't use it, you're not going to get paid. And you know what's a good motivation is whether you're going to get paid or not. Because then this brain that I say isn't handy starts to figure out, what moving parts can I comprehend? What do I have control of? If I switch this and I open this and I tweak this. And so I actually became, I felt like, more of a man, like doing mobile detailing, because I had to figure crap out on the fly. I was forced to try and figure things out that normally I would have just played helpless on and be like, I don't know, I think it's broken, right? So I love that you didn't have stories, then you came up with a couple of classics right there. Those are good.
And you said about going to the restroom. So there have been close calls, you know. There's been times where I'm detailing and the person isn't home. It's just a job, like, you know, detailing, you know, just bill me. I've stopped what I'm doing, get in my van and just leave all my equipment out and go to the next McDonald's nearby or something. Now, one time in particular, I was detailing for this couple that were some kind of religion or something. They were very odd. It wasn't like anything I recognized, right? And they were dressed like pilgrims. and they wouldn't shake hands. Like, hey, good morning. Oh, we don't shake hands. And, you know, so anyway, I had to use the restroom, and it was like one of these, like, right now. We got no time to think. We got no time. So I'm with an employee of mine, and I go walking all funny to the front of the house because, I mean, this is like right now. You got to go. And I knock on the door, and I go, hey, can I use your restroom? And he says, number 1 or number 2? And I go, number 2. He goes, number 2, huh? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go right now on your doorstep. And he's like, and there was something weird about whatever he believed in, that you don't let people in to go number 2. No, that's okay. So I go walking like this, all kind of funny, back to the van, and my employee at the time goes, what are you doing? Because he understands. And I go, he won't let me go in there. And I go, I'm gonna go right now. I mean, I'm shaking. I'm trying not to. And he says, when we pulled up earlier, they're building a pool 3 houses down, and there's a porta potty in front of the house. And so he unplugs the generator. He goes, go, go, go. So I jump in the van, like I'm driving it like this, like one leg on the dash. I'm squeezing, I'm holding. I'm about to have an accident. I get over there, and these guys are doing something to the pool. And I go, can I use your restroom? They go, yeah, sure. So I run inside there, and there's no toilet paper.
Oh, my gosh.
But in front of the porta potty are stacks of empty cement bags. So I come back out and I grab an empty cement bag and I run back in. Now an empty cement bag is the only other is just about is like cardboard, a cement bag. Right? But it saved me. It saved me on that day. But being a mobile detailer to solve problems, you'll have that thought out beforehand. So if you're gonna go to another job, maybe stop at a fast food place and check or whatever, or just let them know. Sometimes I'll ask. A lot of my wealthy clients have a pool house or a guest house, and almost always they'll have it unlocked, or at least make sure it's unlocked. So that's just part of the learning process.
I think you got to make mistakes to learn, and I never felt like these people had any issues if I was like, hey, would you mind if I use your restroom? It's interesting. I started a carpet cleaning business for a minute thinking that was going to be the path, Joe, to like profitable service-based, cleaning. And they don't really like you in their home. They treat you differently. At best, you're a welcome intrusion. They think you're cool when you're working on their nice cars. The garage is a better place than the house. So the house is their safe space. It's a weird thing to penetrate and to get in there, and you kind of want to stay out of that space. But I never felt like, especially my really rich customers, they never mind if I was like, hey, would you mind if I use your restroom? And I don't know if it was just because of how we vibed or whatever, but it didn't seem like it was an unreason. I was like, hey, later I may need to use the restroom. Is that okay? Where is it? Can I use your power? Can I use your water? I prefer to bring a generator to jobs, but I don't know. Restrooms are a real thing, though. Yeah,
it's a real thing. But it's something you can overcome. No big deal.
Hey, so I want to try to keep this under an hour. I do want to talk about your bike drive happening this month. What is it? What do you want people to know? It's something I've seen you talking about on social media for years.
Yes. So the bike drive is, so I'm just a pretty face to it. It's more than just me. It's a team effort. And this team effort is from other auto detailers around the country. It's from my customers. It's from friends and family and Facebook, friends. And how it started was I walked into Walmart once and there were brand new bikes on clearance because they were slightly weathered. Bikes at Walmart here are kept in the garden section usually. And if they don't get sold quick enough, they'll fade, get a little bit weathered. So I remember seeing a row of bicycles, and they were weathered. And I know a guy that can polish, and clean things up. And it was near Christmas, and I go to a church that has an event called the Christmas store. Yeah, the Christmas store. And this is for people that are struggling financially, and they'll invite them to come in and get a toy for their kids or whatever. So I said, man, that'd be cool if we could just buy these bikes and I'll clean them up and send them through the toy store because they're brand new, and this cleaning them up means polishing the frames, peeling off faded stickers and put fresh stickers on and, make sure you got air in the tires and that type of thing. So I put it on Facebook. I go, look at all these bikes. And it was like $500 worth of bikes, So, I guess I could buy them, but let me ask, hey, I'm going to buy so many bikes. Anybody else want to chip in and we'll get these bikes? Well, so much money came in that I bought those bikes and had money left over to buy brand new bikes. Come to find out, it was just nicer and easier to go straight to brand new bikes. Because the older ones, sometimes the grips, you couldn't get them as clean as you'd like. So that was 54 bikes the first year. Then we went to 150 bikes. That is a lot. So we went to 150 bikes and we kept climbing. This is our 9th year doing it, and we do 600 bikes. 600 bikes. And we've expanded to not just kids that are in families that are struggling financially. We have partnered with organizations that help kids who've been rescued from situations where they've been neglected and abused. And we're talking about whatever you can picture in your mind as a neglected or abused kid, it's 10 times or 100 times as worse. And I don't like to repeat the stories because I get a list of the kids and a little summary of why they're in there, and it's heartbreaking. So we can't rescue the world. We can't save the world. But for 600 kids, we can this year bring them a brand new bike and say, look, I see you. I love you. You're valuable. Whatever happened in the past is the past. And life is good. And here's a brand new bike. That's kind of our message.
What does the bike symbolize? And, not to use that fancy word, but like, what does it kind of symbolize? And then what does it actually mean for the kids? Like, how do they feel? What does it do for them?
it means that they're seen, that they're recognized. They've been in a situation. Now, not all kids. Some kids, their parents pass away, so they haven't been abused, but they've been in a traumatic experience. The message we try to send them that life is still worth living. Life is good. Things happen, but you can overcome it. The kids who have been abused, that was a bad thing or whatever it is, but you are not whatever you were made to believe you were. You're not just garbage, or you don't deserve what happened to you. And we're here to say that we love you, and here's a bike, and let's make Christmas beautiful. We've given bicycles to kids who were like 6, 7, 8 years old and have never celebrated a Christmas. Can you believe that? That's the first Christmas they ever celebrated. And, we gave them a bike. And I'll tell you the heart of these kids. Some of these kids have been abused, and they're in an ugly situation. They're still not in a real good situation because they're not with a parent or a family. They're with foster kids, or they could be in an institution, which is like a dorm or like barracks. And they get one chance to get one bicycle. And these kids, if they have a sibling, will give up their chance to give that bike to their brother or sister. Isn't that great? That shows you where their heart is. And we tell them they're going to get a bike too. So you pick a bike. This bike is for you. So it's awesome. These kids are great. And it's a lot of work. It could be frustrating because I put the word out and go, hey, we need money for bikes. And you hear crickets sometimes.
But I'm wondering why bikes? Is it the freedom it gives them? Like, why did you choose that vessel?
Well, bikes starts with me. A lot of us can have a story. I didn't have a story anywhere near as bad as most of these kids. But my mom and dad got a divorce, and it was a little bit bumpy or whatever. And my bike was my freedom. I loved my bike. I love my bike like you would not believe. I love mechanical things like I do now. That's why I collect the old polishers, and that's why I restore old motorcycles. So being a little kid, my bike was the closest mechanical thing that was just mine. And I modified it and put cooler wheels. I got parts of bikes from around the neighborhood. I'd build other bikes. But the most important thing was just getting on it. If mom and dad were bumping heads at home or whatever, I could just get on and disappear and be free. And this is back in Hialeah, Florida, which is a suburb of Miami. And it wasn't developed back then like it is now. And I could ride in the woods, and we'd build ramps, and all my other friends. And man, we'd disappear like for miles and miles and miles in this, like nothing like they do today. And every time I think of my bike, just immense joy, So I have a thing for bikes already. And bikes aren't as popular as they were when I was a kid, and we have to introduce these bikes back to the kids. A lot of these kids have mental situations where they have to have a release, and they got to get off their computer and off their phone. And these bikes, they're like discovering a new activity they can do that they enjoy. So they really, they really love these bikes. It's like something they haven't been introduced to. Sometimes we'll give a bike to a big kid, 20-inch or 24-inch bike. And when we ask, this doesn't have training wheels. I'm like, what do you mean? The kid's 10 years old. He's never been on a bike. He needs training wheels. Yeah. So, these poor, and some kids don't trust you. You hand them a bike and they look around and you think, why aren't you laughing? Why aren't you happy? And they're suspicious. They're cautious. They're untrusting. And they think it's a joke, or they think, and it takes a while to talk with a kid. This is your bike, man. You can name it. You can ride it. You can do whatever you want. And it takes a second for it to sink in.
Do you have one story? Because I know you said these stories can be heartbreaking. Do you have one story, one kid, where when you close your eyes and it just kind of makes you smile? Some example of giving someone a bike and it just had a huge impact on them?
There's so many stories. It was difficult for me to pass out bikes because I'm not a crybaby. I mean, I stood next to my father when he passed away years ago, and I just didn't cry. I'm just I have a very optimistic and happy attitude. So when my father passed away when I was 50, I thought to myself, man, that was a good run. I had a great dad for 50 years. And at the time I had 2 employees. That one lost his father when he was young, and his father was abusive and alcoholic and everything else. So they didn't know their fathers. And, hey, I had a father for 50 years, a good one, right? Who was funny and worked on cars and everything else. So I don't know, isn't that weird? So when I see these kids, I don't know what they've been through. And when they get a bike, I see how happy it is, and like going back to why I don't cry. I do get teary-eyed when these kids, these beautiful, innocent, loving little kids are mistreated. That really upsets me. So it took me a while to even deliver the bikes. I didn't want to see the kids. Like, we'll provide the bikes. I'm the guy in the back, and you guys are the front. Yeah. But you have to see the kids because you do all the work, you raise all the money. we all assemble bikes, and you have to see the end result. You got to see the big smile on their face. And I don't know any specific stories that this kid was in this situation and now we gave him a bike. They'll have different stories, but I like to see when they light up, when they trust you and they get on their bike and they get like, you can't ride it without a helmet. And man, they'll jump on that thing and take off with no helmet. And the caretaker's following them, screaming, "Hey, your helmet." And they're just smiling and they're having a blast. And whatever they've been through for that moment is gone. And they're just in a happy place, just riding around and having a blast. And that's great. And when they do it with their friends or their siblings, it's just that's the payoff right there.
Joe, what's it called and how can they help? We got a couple weeks till Christmas, right? When this podcast airs.
Oh, okay. So there's no official name to it. We just call it Bicycle Blessings, I guess. I'm not an official charity, but I did partner with an official charity, so I can use official charity benefits, for example. So if somebody wants to send in a big check and they want to have a tax deductible something or other, they get it from the charity. And also the charity gets our biggest group of bikes, about 200 bikes, and they deal directly with the Department of Children and Family Services. And these are the kids that have been through the worst of the worst. So what I do is nothing official, and I'm not even sure how it happens. Like I said, I'm a man of faith, so I just go, all right, let's do this, and boom, bikes come, and it has to come from God because I'm not special. I don't buy the bikes. I really don't know what it's like a rocket. People say, how high is a rocket going to go? I'm hanging on. And when we go up and we start to come back down, I'll let you know how high it went up. I really don't know why. I just say, I'm just available, put it that way. I'm just available to do it. And I'll ask everybody else, it goes, we're going to do this. We're going to help. And everybody goes, yeah. And it just happens,
So how can they reach out to you and help?
The best way is PayPal. I collect money on PayPal. People just send in money through PayPal. When PayPal doesn't work, we do Venmo. We do Zelle. Those are my least favorite because the PayPal account is just for bicycles. Yeah. The rest I got to kind of separate or whatever. If someone needs a tax deductible receipt, they send funds directly to the charity, which is called Lead Me Home Foundation. And leadmehomefoundation.org, I think, is their email. And
what's the best way to get in touch with you if folks want to reach out? And
Joe at superiorshine.com is my email.
Joe at superiorshine.com.
Any
final thoughts as we wrap up here this episode of Nick?
Well, my final thoughts is, first of all, I'm flattered. The back of my mind, I'm just kind of old and washed up, got nothing new to say or whatever. Also, if I have to leave anything with you or with the people watching, is have fun first, is love life first, give back first. Always give more than you take. Always give more than you take. That'll always work out in your situation. Take yourself off of number one. I mean, take care of yourself, but take yourself off for number one and just have fun. That's it. That's it. Just have fun. I have too much fun. Make sure you get your priorities right. If you can have fun and make money, then that's the perfect situation. Have fun, make money, and give more than you take. That's my formula right there.
I love that. What a great way to end. Thank you, Joe, for your time.
Hey, it's my pleasure.